Hello and welcome to another tournament in a TeaBreak. It's day 12 and guess what? We actually had people playing tennis.
Yes.
I'm beyond giddy.
Not a raindrop. Yeah.
No, actually, it was quite surprising because
Yes.
it was quite murky and it didn't look great
It
on
even
the way in.
it even dropped a few. It had few drops in the morning,
Yeah.
early in the morning. But once the matches began, it was sunny, nice, pleasant.
Yeah. Perhaps not necessarily the case for Halep. Let's start with the defending champion. So, of course, she came out and was facing Amanda Anisimova. And, quite unlike the Iga Swiatek match, Halep, actually the first few games were quite close. And then Anisimova had just been pressing. And lo and behold, she got the first break.
Yes.
She backed it up with another and took the first set. And then from there, it really just seemed to spiral a little bit out of control for Halep until, I think...
3-1.
That's it. There was one service game where Anisimova tightened up like a drum.
The 3-1 game, yes. And I will be the first one to admit, and I'll go on record because I am already on record, Ross. In our Tuesday podcast, I said I thought this would be a tough task for Anisimova, that Halep was likely to win, and I turned out completely wrong. And so I'll go on record once again saying that Anisimova played an excellent first set, just like you said. And Halep, in fact, in the first set, she committed less unforced errors than Halep, playing a much riskier game and hit more winners than Halep, which is understandable because, again, she was playing a much riskier game. But then in the second set, from about 4-2 in the first set, 4-2 deuce is the exact point, until 3-love in the second, Anisimova played about as good tennis as I've seen in this tournament, except perhaps Conte the other day.
On behalf of the grateful nation, I thank you.
Yes. No, Joe played it incredible, so I can put it above that. But those two sequences are the best tennis in the women's draw that I've seen. But in the 3-1 game, all of a sudden, from the 3-1 game to about 4-all game, Amanda made about 7 unforced errors, and what that did is it doubled the number of unforced errors that she made for the second set over all of the first set. So yes, she did have a little bit of a hiccup there, but at the same time, we can also say, well, guess what? She's 17 for the first time in the second week of a major. Her first time on Philippe Chatrier against the defending champion, a young player. All of a sudden, squanders a 6-2. 4-2 lead, and you would think that, okay, this is the beginning of a fantastic comeback for the champion. Amanda, great show once again, but hey, we'll see you later next year. You'll have to wait your turn. No, she says she basically made a statement saying my future is now. And at that 4-all game, she even faced the break point, but she hit a very deep second shot, which forced Simona into an error, and then she plays the next 2 points tough. And then at 5-4 on the return game, if you take out Simona's double fault, she did make one double fault, you look at all those points, it's Amanda who won them herself. So she rose to the top of the mountain, even though there was a champion trying to push her down.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I thought that game was pivotal. I think if Halep had broken, I think you're right. I think it would have been the beginning of the end. And I certainly think Halep would have taken the next set, and then maybe Anisimova would have done it. But what was interesting in press was that Anisimova was like, I knew I had to change what I did. I knew I had to change everything, and I think that was what upended Halep, because she will have prepared for the patterns of play that we've seen from Anisimova, and she changed something up, and Halep took Halep most of a set and a half just to try and figure out what was going on.
And furthermore, I'm not even sure if she did. I have to say that one thing that I thought, in fact, in our podcast on Tuesday, I mentioned this. I thought Simona would use her down the line prowess, which is she's got a great backhand down the line. She can hit down the line well, and against players who step inside the baseline like this and try to take the ball early, they like to cut off the angles from the cross-court ball and step in and hit the open corner. And yet Simona, I counted, because with that in mind, I counted for my post-match write-up too. I counted the number of points that they played where Simona actually tried to change the pattern of the rally going down the line, only 11 times the whole match. And guess what? She won. Simona won 9 out of those 11 points. So why not do it more?
Yeah.
And she tried to get into these cross-court bam, boom rallies back and forth. And let's face it, Amanda was too good on those today, and she hit one winner after another.
Let's give Simona all the credit though. I mean, I asked her that, she said to us in Stuttgart, even if I go out in the first round, I'm just going to enjoy this moment. So I sort of said to her, how, you said that everything was a bonus, but come on, how do you feel? And she was like, she was too good today, just too good. I couldn't play my game, and also to go out in the quarterfinals there's no shame in that.
Yes.
As a defending champion, maybe a little bit of a, do you remember when that kid took me out and then went out in the first round? Well, the quarterfinal isn't too bad, and actually Sloane Stephens made it to the quarterfinal.
Yes.
So let's not
and
forget. And
Simona didn't play bad the tournament. I mean, it was not a bad tournament for her. It's just today things went sour, but it was not a bad tournament by any means.
But she did admit as well that she's quite nervous, which I thought was kind of strange. But it'll be interesting to see what she does on the grass. Grass isn't naturally a surface that's good for her. So.
But she will not be defending the title. I think that's what she was referring to when she said she was nervous. It's the first time she's having to defend the title.
Yes, very true. Very, very true. Well, on to the second one. Ashleigh, Barty and Madison Keys. Now, both of these players for me have just been skirting under the radar. Nobody's been paying them much attention. All the attention's been on Osaka or Serena or Konta.
Or the youngsters. Yeah.
Or the kids.
Yeah.
Again, it started pretty tight. There was not a lot between them in the early stages, and then I think it was 2 breaks at the end. Barty just began to pull away. And then she maybe had a little bit of a hiccup in the second set as she was serving out. She got broke straight back, and then closed it out fairly comfortably. So a good win for her. She was. I did actually tease her and ask her if she'd been watching the cricket because Australia wasn't doing that well. She was just like, yes. And I thought, have you been watching the cricket? Yeah, well, they were in a bit of strife.
Yeah. I find Ashleigh to be a quite casual person in her demeanor on the court and off the court.
She's amazing.
Yes,
she's amazing.
It's a delight. Yeah.
But now we have. Yeah, I mean, she was sort of saying, her now. It's interesting. Her and Konta, I think you'd have to push them into a corner and stamp on their toes to get them to admit that clay, isn't perhaps not their best surface.
And yet they could be in the finals.
And yet they could be in the finals. So we have 2 people that, maybe clay has not been a good surface for them in the past, but they've obviously rectified that this time around. And then you've got the 2 kids.
Yes.
Who are swinging free.
Yes, what a contrast! What a great, pair of semifinals we have on the women's side coming up. It's going to be very interesting. And as far as Jo goes, first of all, I like Jo's chances because she's taking the ball early and the ball is bouncing high properly for her to hit. Now, let's see how the weather is tomorrow.
That was what I was going to ask you this. I don't know whether we mentioned this before, because Sloane Stephens, in her press conference after she lost, said that the Chatrier, the layer of clay on the top had been very thin, and it's quite gusty in Chatrier. When the wind picks up, it's like a little mini tornado, and so a lot of the clay had been blown off to the sides. So you were left with the base layer of stuff, and it played more like a clay court. Like a hard court, which I think benefits Jo because she can get into her game very quickly, get 3 points off that serve.
And if I'm not mistaken, tomorrow is supposed to be windy, is that correct?
Tomorrow is supposed to be 90 kilometres an hour wind.
Oh, my word, I didn't realize. Okay.
So it could benefit Konta.
Of course.
If that top layer of soil gets blown off, except they are not playing on Chatrier. They'll be playing on Simon Mathieu.
At the same time, although they'll be playing on Simon Mathieu, Jo also doesn't have big swings to deal with, which Marketa does. Vondrousova deals with big swings, and usually on windy days, sometimes people with big swings are not as good in making small adjustments at the last second as people with more compact swings are. So that also could give the advantage to Jo. But are you going to dare underestimating Vondrousova?
No,
I can't. I
have been saying on radio constantly. In fact, the guys were teasing me about it just now because I wouldn't give an answer. They were, could Jo win it? I said, if she gets past Vondrousova, then yes. And they're like, Ros, come on. I thought, no. If she gets past Vondrousova, then I think she has a great shot at the title because it'll either be Barty or Anisimova.
And also at that point, Jo will have beaten 3 or 4 players in a row that have different styles, completely different styles, and that's just that proves to you that she's ready for the title.
And don't forget, I mean, she's the only one that's got the semi-final experience, and she's now been at a semi-final of a slam on all 3 surfaces that are available. So don't underestimate what that achievement is like. I think that this match is going to be a 3-setter, and I think it's going to be an extended 3-setter, all the way to advantage. I can see this probably like, I'd liken this to the Donna Vekic Wimbledon one, where it's probably going to be around about 10-8 in the decider.
That's a very cogent prediction, in my opinion, on your part. The only way I can see this changing is if Jo comes out and just nails every ball in and all of a sudden wins the first set easy. And then Marketa finds herself down 1 set in 21 minutes and doesn't know what's going on, and she can't recover, and then the match is over quickly. That could happen too.
It needs that Jo's serve has to be firing. Yeah. Everything else in her game falls into place when her serve is firing. If she comes out and her serve stats are in the 70s, 80s, then I would cautiously put a half euro down.
I agree with you. I would add to that second serve returns also. If her second serve returns are on fire because she attacks with second serve. And so then you have the combination of an attacking game, both on the serving game and on the returning game, clicking, and then watch out.
Yeah. And in terms of Barty and Anisimova, how do you see that one going?
I see that one going slightly different than Anisimova's match today, simply because she's going to face someone who's going to give her inside-out slices, drop shots, slice serves to the outside, kick serves to the outside. She's going to have to hit some balls above the shoulder level, below the belt level. She's going to have to she's going to have to adjust and change the whole time. And I'm expecting Ashleigh to have good timing, even though it might be windy. And imagine if it is really windy. Imagine what Barty's slices will do.
Oh, they're going to drive you
crazy.
Travel.
Yes, exactly. They will stop in the air. They will bounce to the side. And so it's going to be a tough day for Anisimova, who's coming forward, in my opinion, has not quite been challenged yet. I would like to see her play against someone who actually makes her move up and down the court rather than side to side.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, neither her or Vondrousova have dropped a set, but Martic came really close. I think if Martic had managed to get the win, it would have been a really certainly get that first set. I think it would have been a very different story. Now on to the men, les garçons de Roland Garros, the boys of Roland Garros.
Yes.
So predictably. Our favourite thin white asparagus, Alexander Zverev, bowed in the wind.
That's what you meant by garçon, because the rest of them are not garçon.
Exactly.
They're actually de vieux hommes, old men.
Yeah. For me,
team.
For me, Zverev left it too little, too late to sort of try and mount any kind of charge. Yeah. I think this is probably the trickiest opponent that Djokovic had. 7-5 in the first set. But I think after that, even though he was getting cross with himself while he was up a break, come on, man, give yourself a break. I don't think this was ever in doubt that this would be a Djokovic win.
No, especially after the first set, right? I mean, I think Zverev never broke in the second and third set. So there was not a single break. On the other hand, Zverev served well himself in terms of first serve percentage, and yet got broken so many, 5 times.
He's against one of the most bendy men in the history
and probably the best returner we may have ever seen.
Yeah.
So
and then of course we have so he'll be against Thiem. So how do you see that going? Because I must admit I watched Djokovic and Zverev. I didn't really see much of Thiem and Khachanov.
I saw some of Thiem and Khachanov, and what a lot of people will look at the numbers. Will look at Khachanov's numbers especially in the first and all the way to the middle of the second set, and see that he made close to 20 unforced errors just in that first set and a half sequence. But I'll tell you this: Thiem was looking extremely strong. His unforced error count was very low. I can't remember now. It was either 5 or 6 after a set in 4 games or something like that. And for Thiem, that's a low number.
Yeah.
Thiem doesn't just rally. He whacks the ball. And Thiem's serve to the outside is outrageously it's outrageous. I mean, I think everybody knows, or everybody who's been following Thiem up close knows how strong a weapon his kick serve to the outside is on the ad side. But he's also hitting this wicked slice serve to the outside on the deuce side, and the opponent constantly finds himself way outside the court returning. They better hit a great return, or else it's the open court on the other side. And so that's working well for him. Team's form has peaked. I mean,
Absolutely.
He started the 3 quarters from the tournament, and now he's on top form right now.
I would say that. I mean, it's interesting because something my old mum used to say was sometimes you see the best matches in the semi-finals because they want it so much, and I think we're actually going to be in for a corker for the men because you've got Thiem who could potentially be the only person to stop Djokovic grabbing the title. I still stand by my statement that whilst we've got Fedal, episode 39, and all the fanfare that goes with that, I still think that Nadal will come out on top.
Yes, that would be the logical choice for sure, on paper and also logically. And also, when we look at this top 4 here, and if we consider Thiem's dexterity on red clay, if the ATP circuit was played solely on red clay, Thiem would be a member of the big 4, actually, along with the other 3. So the fact that we have these 4 names in the semifinals is really no surprise. Even in Roger's case, most people I think would have picked these 4 names at the end of the day to be in the semifinals. So we're in for a treat. Yes, you are right. Rafa should come out on top against Roger, even though he hasn't beaten him in the last 5 matches. This is clay courts. At the same time, I would also like to underline that this may be Roger's best chance to beat him on clay, simply because he's rested. I mean, he's played fairly well, but he has a little bit of a chance. Roger must win the first set. He does not win the first set, his chances of winning goes from 30% to about 3.5%.
Wow.
Yes, I don't think he will win 3 out of 4 sets against Nadal if he loses the first set. But he must absolutely win the first set. One chance that he may have, I mean, this is complete speculation, because of the 2 days rest that they have. Maybe Rafa has a slow start, and maybe Roger gets an early break. Yeah. And ends up winning the first set, and then the doors are open for a pretty good final. But otherwise, going to Novak and Dominique, you want to give it a shot? Or
I think Thiem will take a set off him for sure. I think he may even push it to a 5-setter.
Yes, it's possible.
It's possible, but ultimately, I think Djokovic will come out on top.
Yes, it's hard to difficult to go against Novak.
Shall we just have a quick little word on the scheduling, because already our timelines have gone completely batshit insane with the kerfuffle over the scheduling. So if you don't know by now, or you've been hiding under a rock, the women, because of the weather that is speculated for tomorrow, the women are playing on Lenglen and Simon Mathieu. As I said, Joe's on Simon Mathieu, and Barty and Anisimova are on Lenglen, and they're both starting at 11 at the same time. Now, the part of the reason for that is the men's semi-finals, which would have been today, were they've scheduled it so that
semi-finals would have been tomorrow.
Sorry, but they've done it so that there's people that are paid for for one semi and then the other semi, and they put them on Chatrier for that reason. So because of the way they split the ticket sales. Now this is an issue of the organisers doing. And once again, the women get bumped off. Now, it's interesting because most of the women have been asked about this, not the other two, because obviously they finished a day earlier. But their reaction has been, I could play in the car park, I don't care. I mean, I'm in a slam semi-final. What are you talking about?
Yeah, the players themselves may not necessarily care.
It
doesn't end there, though.
But it doesn't end there, because at the end of the day, no matter how much people want to grumble about it, people have paid a lot of money to come and watch specific matches, or specific scheduled matches. They didn't know who was going to be in the semi-finals. We didn't know we were going to get 8 and 26 and 2 unseeded.
Yeah.
But they did buy tickets for a women's semi-final. Now, the FFT are going to let people roam into these courts.
Even the annex court ticket holders are going to be able to go into those courts.
And for them...
Is that fair to the original ticket
holders?
holders?
Well, this is it. So if you've got a grounds pass and you came to watch juniors and stuff and just soak up the atmosphere, and now you've got a chance to scamper into Longlen...
A 5-star match.
And Simon Mathieu. You're going to be going as quick as your little legs can carry you. So I actually think that the atmosphere in those two courts is going to be electric.
Oh yes, on the course themselves, I agree, and they're both very nice courts.
Exactly, and but we've seen that a certain start, like around lunchtime, we've seen that Chapter can take a while to fill up. So from the players' point of views, if they're they view it as a performance, and I know that Joe's often said it's what you train for, to come out and play in front of people that are going crazy and nuts over what you're doing. That's going to be great for them. What it isn't going to be great for is everybody else, because it's an 11 o'clock start. The weather is set to be absolutely abysmal all day, so it could be stop and start and stop and start.
Yeah.
It's going to be a frustrating day for everybody, I think.
And also, Amanda Anisimova is American. There's by putting it at 11 o'clock, you're taking out the whole American market who may want to watch that women's semifinals.
Exactly.
You're looking at California.
Yep.
In the middle of the night. Most of America will be in the middle of the night. So they're going to probably not be able to get up and watch that match too.
Yeah.
And both of them are at the same time, so you're going to have to pick and choose anyway. Yep. Whereas the men's,
men's are back to back.
But the main problem here is you mentioned it. It's the fact that it's 2 separate tickets for the men's semifinals, and it's just so hard now for Roland Garros to make it so that to move the men's matches, or there are times to move one of them to another court when they sold it in 2 separate sessions.
Exactly. And the other thing is, they're not starting the men until 12:50, by which time we're probably going to be in the midst of a thunderstorm. So if you're going to screw everything up by chucking the women on the outside courts and have them going simultaneously, then why are you not starting the first men's semi-final at 11 as well? Because you've got 2 5-setters to get through in crappy weather. Yeah. Why are you waiting till actually you're going to be slap bang in the middle of a thunderstorm? It makes no sense to me.
Ross, isn't there an Anderson at Wimbledon semifinals?
Don't swear at me.
I'm gonna make a comparison there. These are guys that played a match that barely had 3 or 4 shots, right? In each rally. Yeah. They started at 1 o'clock. There were no tiebreakers in the final set, so they finished 7:30 in the evening. Now I don't expect any of these matches to go that long, but if we're playing on clay, which means rallies are going to be longer. And imagine if the first match, Federer and Nadal in this case, goes by some miracle 10-8 in the 5th. Even without rain, Djokovic's match may not finish that day. You see, so I agree with you. Why start? They could start at least 1 hour earlier.
Yeah. Exactly.
And plus, there's going to be people moving out and moving in to Chapter. So it's not like the match is over. They shake hands. The winner speaks on the court. He leaves the court, and 10 minutes later, the other players walk in. It's not going to be that way. No. There's going to be a good 30-minute, 40-minute delay in between.
Oh, Roland Garros, you do you. Anyway, we will be back, obviously, to talk about this day of days, semi-final day, and give our views on the final. But as always, you've been listening to Ros Satar, and thank you, kind sir.
Mert Ertunga from Tennis with an Accent. Thank you, Ross, for having me on. I'm really enjoying these podcasts.
And we'll talk to you tomorrow. Au revoir tout le monde.
Au revoir.